We all know that love can make you blind. It can also make you do things you never thought you would. That's usually how people end up getting married in Vegas and divorcing in less than 2 months. Choosing a person you're going to spend your life with is not something you can leave up to your heart to decide. You need to choose wisely, because if you make the wrong decision, you might regret it for the rest of your life. Before you make any big decisions, you need to sit down and think about the person you're with. Can you trust them? Are they constantly breaking promises? Are they always coming up with excuses? There's a lot you can tell about a person simply by looking at their behavior. For example, research has shown that some habits in men can tell a lot about their behavior in relationships and marriage, which is why we've made a list of 6 key habits that can tell you whether the man you're with is not good marriage material. But before we tell you why you should never marry a man who has these habits, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel, because we have more awesome content coming your way. Is he narrow-minded? To be honest, spending a life with a man who is narrow-minded sounds like a nightmare. Why would you be with someone who refuses to open their mind and prevents you from doing anything normal because he's afraid of things going wrong? Having this type of negativity in your life will make you regret your choices. It's better to end things with such a man right away than regret it later in life every time he displays his narrow-mindedness. Does he hate animals? Did you know that the FBI has a program that tracks all people who abuse animals? They pay close attention to children with abusive behavior towards animals because such behavior, unless treated, tends to turn into something much worse later in life. So why would you be with a man who hates animals? Sure, if he's allergic to cat or dog hair or doesn't want to get a pet and has good reasons for it, then you can compromise. But if he makes you choose between your pet and him, the choice is obvious. Not liking animals is totally fine, but not wanting a pet because it's an animal shows a great lack of empathy. You don't want to be living with such a man, do you? Does he break promises? Keeping promises is extremely important in a relationship, let alone marriage. And yes, people make mistakes, even forget big promises. But as long as they show that it wasn't intentional, a compromise can be made. But if you are in a relationship with a man who constantly makes promises and breaks them the next day, then you need to reconsider your choices. A man who doesn't value his own word won't value you either. Is he full of excuses? People who constantly come up with excuses don't care about you. All that those excuses are is a way of saying that the person had more important things to do, more important than you. Marriage is all about compromise, but if he needs to make excuses that are too senseless to be true, then he just doesn't care about you or doesn't care enough to include you in his life. Does he keep the fights alive? Research has shown that fights are good for you. As a matter of fact, fights are healthy for a relationship, but only if they end. Voicing your opinions is okay, and sometimes people disagree and argue about things. Shocker. But if you're married to a man who doesn't let you keep your opinion or never agrees to settle on a decision, then you have a problem. Marriage is about respecting each other's differences, and if he never agrees with you, never respects your opinion, and keeps the fights alive, you need to get out of that marriage. Is he abusive? This type of behavior has a precursor. For example, it could be a lack of empathy toward animals or being prone to fights and violent outbursts. Abuse can be both physical and emotional, and marriage is not the place for either of those things. If you are in a relationship with a man who displays abusive or violent behavior, leave him right away and don't look back. Don't think people can change just because you love them. Marrying such a person will be the worst mistake of your life. How about you? Do you see any of these habits in people you know? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section below.